Hello everybody, welcome to ScottyDGaming. I'm Scotty D, and today I'm going to be going over a little tutorial on the best settings for using OBS with the Nvenc video encoder. Now what that means is the Nvenc video encoder uses your graphics card to encode the video as opposed to most other encoders in OBS which uses your CPU. Now the benefits of that is generally a less intensive strain on your system by using the GPU over the CPU. And this highly benefits people that are going to be using the same computer to record and play the games. So what I'm going to go over first is just the settings. For anybody that's already got OBS set up and they already know how to use OBS, I'm just going to go over the settings quickly and then I'll go into the full tutorial on how to do it from scratch. So let's open up OBS. We're going to go into File, Settings, and the output. And also bear in mind this is only for recording. We're not going over streaming here, recording. So recording format MP4. Encoder, you want to use the Nvenc video encoder. And the rate control, you want to change that to CQP, and then your CQP option you want to put to 28, and the rest of it you can leave by default, but just make sure that your B frames are set to 2. Now just a quick bit of information on CQP 28 on the rate control of CQP. At 1080p 60 frames per second on a game like Fallout or Call of Duty, you're going to get in general a file size that varies between 3 gigabytes and 5 gigabytes for a 45 to 50 minute video. Now that in my mind is a manageable file size. I'm happy with that, and the quality is, in my opinion, it's great quality. It's the type of quality that you're not going to notice gets absolutely destroyed by YouTube's video encoder. So I think I've found this to be the optimal encoding settings. You're more than welcome to fiddle about with it yourself. You can go into this with more advanced settings like changing other things, but I found there's no need to. These settings here work flawlessly, so I just go with things that just work, and I know that this works. And that's it. Right, so now we're going to go into the tutorial for people that don't know anything about OBS but they want to record their games from their PC. So the first thing that you want to do is you want to download OBS Studio. Now you get that from the obsproject.com. I'll put all the links for everything will be in the description that you need. I'll put those in at the time of uploading. So download OBS Studio. Where's my mouse pointer gone? Download OBS Studio, then you want to just install it and open it up. Now once you've got OBS open, and that sounds a bit daft, minimize it. What you now want to do is I'd advise anybody, open up the game that you're planning on recording first. Make sure you've set the resolution to the resolution that you want, and then keep the game running in the background. As you can see, I've got Cuphead at the minute running in the background. And the reason why I recommend people do this is because when you tell OBS what you want to capture, it will generally capture a random or whatever full screen applications open. But for that bit of security and safety, I like to tell it which window specifically to capture. So that's why we have it running in the background. So Alt and Tab out of your game and go back to OBS. Now the first thing you're going to want to do is you want to create a scene. And I normally keep a separate scene for every game, just so I can flick through them at will, like that. So at the minute I've got a desktop scene because I'm just capturing my desktop. So the first thing you're going to want to do now is you want to go to your add button and you want to add scene. So call this whatever game you want. So let's say you want to capture Cuphead. Call this Cuphead and then click OK. I'm not going to click OK here because I don't want to move off my desktop recording. Now what you'll have is you'll have Cuphead here, this will be blank, and this will be blank here. So now you want to create a new source. So you want to click plus on sources and you want to go to game capture. Now name this. I normally name this the name of the game I'm playing, just like the scene, but then I add a number at the end. The reason I do that is because you can't have the same name scene as the same name source. So I'd normally call this Cuphead 60. Bearing in mind I've already got a Cuphead 60, so I'm going to name this Cuphead 61. Not that it matters, because I'm not actually going to save this because it will remove this from you seeing what I'm doing here since I'm capturing my desktop. So once you've got that done, click on OK. There we go. And you'll have this window here. It'll have nothing in it at the moment. Now, your mode. This is what I was talking about. By default, it'll capture any full screen application. But for safety, security, and peace of mind, I like to make sure it captures the specific scene. So capture specific window. And now you'll have this new box, same window. You want to choose Cuphead Exe, or the name of whatever game you're playing. And you'll see it pop up like that. Now you'll also see that you can't actually see my desktop, but you can see that would have captured Cuphead. So I'm just going to put that back to default so you can see what I'm doing. So in this window, you'll be able to see whatever game you're playing being previewed. The only other option you're going to change on this is disable capture cursor. The reason you're going to want to do that is because you don't want your desktop cursor being visible when you're playing your game, because it can be distracting. Your in-game cursor will still be captured, just you don't also want your desktop cursor to be captured, so disable that, then click on OK. I'm just going to click on cancel here because I don't need this here. Now, what you'll be able to see now is, I'll just delete that. You'll be able to see the name of your game here, the name of your game with 60 at the end here, and you'll also have the game previewed in this window. If it's not previewed in this window at that time, what I'd recommend you do is just go into your game by clicking on it, and then Alt and Tab and out, and then it should refresh this to display what game you're capturing. Now, we're going to go over the settings. Now, remember, the settings on this is only for recording, a local recording to your hard drive or wherever you want to save it. So we're going to go to File up here and Settings. Your general settings by default are perfect. You can have a look at them if you want, but I haven't changed anything. You want to go to Output here. Now, in Output by default, make sure you're on Recording tab. Boom. Now, by default, your output mode's on Simple. Change this to Advanced. Then you want to make sure your recording path is going to where you want your videos to be saved. As you can see, my videos are saved to my videos folder, capture videos, and I've also got a little shortcut on the desktop here for easy access. Now, recording format, make sure that's MP4 and your audio tracks. If you want Scotty D's most valuable bit of information when recording videos, it's record with multiple audio tracks. Because if anything goes out of sync and you're only using one audio track, you're fucked. You're proper fucked, Tommy. You're not going to be able to fix it. You're not going to be able to realign the commentary, game audio with the video. It's not going to be possible. You can either have one or the other. So that's why I use 3 audio tracks. As you can see, those are ticked. You just tick 1, 2, and 3. And your rescale output. Generally, I play games at 1080p, so I don't need to rescale my output. You might want to rescale this to 720p. It will use more resources on the system doing that, but by default, I just leave this unchecked because you're going to be wanting to record at 1080p, I guess. Now, again, the settings that you saw at the start of the video: rate control, CQP 28, and B-frames 2. They're the 3 main settings. Sorry, yeah, those are the 3 main settings you want to change. Now, a little bit of information regarding this. The lower the number on CQP, the better quality you're going to get, but also the bigger the file size. On the flip side, the higher the CQP, the lower the quality and the less file size you're going to get. So it's up to you for the healthy, finding a balance that suits you. I think this balance is perfect. Like I said, for a 45 to 50 minute video, generally on a CQP of 28, the file size is going to be around about 4 GB, plus or minus a gig, and the quality is going to be what our class is high quality, suitable for everyone to watch on YouTube. There we go. So after you've changed those settings, you're going to go to Audio tab up here. For the tracks that you're using, again, we're only using the 3-track multi-track audio. For each track that you are using, change the bitrate to 192. I found this to be the sweet spot for audio, commentary, and game sounds. So change all of these boxes to 192, and that's it. The next tab we're going to go to is audio. Here's sample rate. Now, sample rate, right? I'd highly recommend you change every single sample rate on your system and in any software that you use to record, whether that be OBS, Audacity, anything. Set it to 48 kilohertz, right? By default, it might be at 44.1, but I'd recommend you leave it at 48 kilohertz. And what you do is change your sample rate in here to 40 kilohertz, go down to your settings here, your audio settings, right click, playback devices. Whatever your playback device is, right click on that, properties, go to advanced, change this to 48,000 hertz or 48 kilohertz. Okay. Do the same. Now I'm using a virtual audio input. Now I'll not explain that here, but basically, I'll do a little explanation. Basically, I'm using Adobe Audition to reduce the background noise in my room and stuff like that. So this is always running. That's why I'm using a virtual audio cable. That's where my sounds are actually coming from. It's going into my sound's going into my mic, into Adobe Audition, and then as an output, as an input into here. So you also I'd recommend you change everything to 48 kilohertz. So properties, advanced, 48 kilohertz, cancel. Then go to your recording software, microphone, right click, properties, advanced. You can see everything's on 48 kilohertz. You get me drift. Do it for everything just to be safe. Now the reason why you want to do that is because if you've got certain softwares and inputs and outputs using a different sample rate, it can cause audio errors, and that's the last thing you want, is to spend ages on a video and realize that the sound's fucked up, because it doesn't always fuck up from the start. You could get 30 minutes into a video and then it'll decide to have an error, and it can just waste all your time. Don't even give it the option to fuck your video up. Just do that. Right, so I went off on a tangent there, but there we go. Your desktop audio device is, well, how else can I explain that? It's your desktop audio device, the one, it's usually your onboard sound card. Select that. Now your mic auxiliary audio device. Normally you might be just using your microphone input directly, which in my case is the Blue Snowball. Whatever microphone you're using, you choose that. But if you are using a virtual audio cable to filter the sound, you'll be selecting that like me. So there we go. And that's it. You don't need to change any other settings at the moment. Next option you want to go to is video. Now, obviously I can't change anything because I'm currently recording, but just make sure that your base resolution is the resolution that you want, 1080p. Again, your output scale resolution, I'm not scaling it, 1080p, I'm happy with that. Your downscale filter, I'd recommend you leave it on bicubic, that's what it is by default. And your common FPS value, you can change this to whatever you want. If you want to record at 30 frames per second, change that to 30. If you want to record at 60, leave it at 60. I used to do all my recordings in 30 frames per second, but I've actually found there's not that much difference in file size going from 30 to 60. So I would recommend everybody recording 60 frames a second. That's just my recommendation. Now the last thing you want to do is you want to go to the not the advanced tab, sorry. I'll go over this. I recommend you go to your hotkeys tab and set the start recording to your numpad plus to start your recording, and a hotkey for your stop recording to be your numpad minus. And just that means when you're in game, you can hit numpad plus to start your recording and then minus to stop recording whenever you want without going in and out of the game. There we go. Now advanced, I'm not actually sure. Yes, the only thing I'd change on the advanced tab is your process priority. I think by default it's on normal. Change it to above normal just to give it that little bit priority in your system resources queue. There we go. And that's that. Now the last thing I'm going to go over is, well, yeah, I'll go over this first before I talk about what I was going to talk about there. Now the multi-audio tracks that we discussed in these settings, this is how you set them up. So you want to go into your mixer area here, just right click in the grey space and click on advanced audio properties. Now you can see you've got your mic and your desktop audio and the volumes associated with them. You will have to have a play about just with trial and error recording, seeing how your commentary is over your game volume by actually being in game and just talking, getting a bit of practice and adjusting those levels to suit whatever your preference is. But this is what's working for me, and bear in mind it will change depending on what game you're playing, so you will have to do a setup before you decide to record each game just to get the audio levels right. But anyways, back to the topic in hand. These are your multi-audio tracks. So as you can see, I've got multi-audio track 1 recording both my microphone and desktop audio on a single track. And for the most part, that is suitable. If you get no errors, you don't need to change anything. That's happy days. But I've got audio track 2 only recording my desktop audio, and my audio track 3 only recording my microphone audio. Now, the reason why I find this is important is because you won't find this important until something goes wrong. So the reason I'm telling you this is because when something goes wrong, you're not going to have an absolute fucking ball ache trying to fix it and realize that you can't actually fucking fix it right. If there's an error that happens on your system where the audio sync goes out for some reason when you've started recording, if you've done a 30-minute video, you're not going to realize there's a problem until you finish your video and then review it. If you've got all the audio tracks saved on one audio track, you can't fix it. You'll either have your commentary lined up with the gameplay correctly, or the game audio lined up with the gameplay correctly. You won't be able to have them both synced correctly because it's all on one audio track. You'll only be able to move it left or right. That's it. Now, if you do get audio sync issues, what you can do is you can put it into a program, a video editing software program, or even Audacity to split the audio off them. And you'll be able to split a track 2, so you'll be able to get a separate file for your desktop audio. Audio track 3, you'll be able to split that to a separate file, and then you'll be able to use the video editing software to put the video in, disable the audio, import track 2 and 3, and then you can manually sync those up to the video, and that's how you could fix that problem. So I never ever record any videos on a single audio track because it's just not worth the ball ache when something goes wrong. So there we go, that's Scotty D's little insider information. There we go. Now once you've done that, the last thing for you to do is just adjust your audio levels, and all you're doing, well actually, one thing that might be useful to you is, if you go to your mic and aux here, if you go to the little settings cog, I normally find that having the mic full and then adjusting your desktop audio down is the best option. Or you can even just adjust the audio levels of the game in-game, and that means you won't need to adjust the desktop audio at all. So anyways, go to your settings cog in your mic aux and go to filters. Now one of the filters that I do have on is, it's called a noise gate. This means that below a certain, well, as you can see, minus 45 decibels, the audio is going to close. Now you'll be able to see this. Look, I'm talking here, you can see my audio level, right? That's completely shut off. So any times when you're not talking for a couple of seconds, this is going to fall completely silent because the audio levels drop below that volume, so it'll actually not record anything. So that means that you'll actually save a bit of file size on the audio recording because it'll be recording zero information. And also it makes any quiet scenes completely silent from your microphone. I wouldn't set this too aggressively. I found that this is quite a conservative amount, and I find that this works for me. So you could probably try these settings out for default. These settings, these will be this on default when you open that up, but your close threshold minus 45 and your open threshold minus 44. So basically it closes at less than 45 and then opens at less than 44. So there we go. And that's that. So I think that's everything. I went over everything from start to finish on using an Nvenc video encoder for recording and capturing gameplay on a single computer. If you've got any questions, lads, just put it in the comments. I'll try my best to help you. Nothing's a bother. And that's it, lads. I hope you've enjoyed the video. I hope it's been helpful. Everything that you need to know, any links will be in the description. So in a bit, lads.